Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Morning. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving and anticipation of a great Christmas, because we all know what happens after Christmas. The pilgrims all come to town. I want to thank y'all for being in attendance today, and I want to thank President Corbin and her staff for coming. What we're doing today, this is the Lottery Oversight Committee that under code, when it was created, was you got a House and a Senate version, and Regulated Industries is in charge of the oversight. Something that we've taken very serious. Haven't been as serious as probably we should, because we didn't have time last legislative session to follow up on the year before. We have a number of questions, and I want to thank the lottery. Our House Research prepared a list of initial questions, and then the committee members, a lot of them that aren't here today, had been funneling questions to us to be asked, and the members have got those questions. We've got a couple of members online today. I think Representative Smith, are you there? No? Can they hear us? Couple of members online. Ms. Earhart, are you there?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I'm here.
Good morning. Good to hear from you, Jenny. So we'll have probably some of the members that'll be calling in, and they'll be online with us. A couple of members had other engagements. Chairman Dubnik had to be in Montgomery for meetings with Alabama pre-K and kindergarten folks over there with the First Lady today, looking at possible future expansion of that in Georgia. And so with that, I see some of the meat and some of our members are filtering on in. Good to see you, Mr. Mitchell. And if we would, just a preference to this, I want to thank a couple of the members of the committee that during the interim that they've been have been pretty active. Chairman Carpenter and Derek, they've gone to some of the quarterly meetings over to Lottery. They were able to funnel us some information about their bookkeeping and such like that, contracts that deal with the sports teams and that kind of stuff. And that's been the prompt of a lot of the questions, I think. So I want to give them a personal thanks for taking time to go to these meetings. Representative Carpenter is busy with his own business today. I think he's cooking 1,400 ribeye steaks this morning for somebody. So, I don't think he's going to be bringing us any leftovers, but we want to thank him in advance of that, and he may be perking in on the meeting at some point. At this point, I'm going to turn this over to President Corbin. She's got the list. I think you'll see I think members, you'll see the questions that House Research Budget had sent to them, and I think she's got the answers to them. And then we have other questions from the committee that have been asked, and they've been compiled for the committee's review. Pass that down to Representative Mitchell. Pass this one down to Representative Chairman Martin. Good to see you, Chairman.
Good to see you, sure.
What about them dogs?
One more and then one more, for sure.
Amen. Amen. President Corbin, if you would, do you have PowerPoint or the handout? I see we got a handout. Maybe you could tell us how you've got this set up. Or these. So the handout, is it going pretty well by the first list of questions that Research Budget Office had sent out?
What point It's kind of like the Georgia Lottery update, and some of your questions are answered inside of those. And then I also have a list of questions that you sent over with all of those answers. And I thought if you were okay with it, I think maybe go to Allison first. And we have the questions if you'd like.
All right, fine.
Okay.
All right.
How to do this your screen.
All right, to the committee members, if you understand, she's going to go through that list of questions, the first list of questions that the Research Budget Office had sent, and then we'll hold off of that. You can start asking any questions. Floor is yours.
Also, a huge thank you for this invitation to join you as well. As you know, my name is Gretchen Corbin. I'm President and CEO of the Georgia Lottery Corporation, and always I'm honored to be with you today. Many thanks to each and every one of you for your service to the state and also for your support of the Georgia Lottery Corporation. On behalf of Governor Kemp, our entire board of directors, our team, and more importantly, on behalf of the Georgia Lottery, Hope students and pre-K students and families who have benefited from the lottery in the past 32 years, I'm excited to share this quick update with you. So first, I wanted to provide an updated snapshot of our record in fiscal year 25. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Andrew. And Mr. Chairman, may I just say a quick thanks to Andrew? He's been very helpful and we appreciate him. Thank you. Keep me in check, Andrew. For fiscal year 25, we returned $1.47 billion to education. This was our 10th consecutive year over $1 billion in returns. We now have 2.2 million pre-K students who have received pre-K, which over 9 billion has gone to pre-K, and over 2.25 million Hope student and grant recipients have received the Hope Scholarship and Grant, which over $16 billion has returned for post-secondary education. From the player perspective, we had a Super Bowl in our lottery industry this November. November 14th, we had the largest win in Georgia Lottery history with our Mega Millions win, $983 million. A player won. Our ticket was sold in Noonan at Publix, and we are waiting. This player has 180 days from that draw to come in and validate. We look forward to receiving you, Chairman Martin. And we won't tell anybody since it's over a $250,000 win. The state, so this was obviously big for that player, for our students, but also from a tax point. On a win like that, the state of Georgia will see over $20 million in taxes, and the jackpot roll brought in approximately $27.9 million for education. But our largest update is something that you mentioned when we walked in today, and that is that our last quarter's return to the Lottery for Education account put us over the milestone of hitting $30 billion return to the state for education since inception. As you can see, this was announced by the governor on Monday. And in case you hadn't seen his press release, I just wanted to share that with you. Mr. Chairman, I think about you and your colleagues when you started the Georgia Lottery in 1992, 93, and the fact that we have gotten to $30 billion with your leadership and all of the partnership of the governors and the legislatures that have come from 1992 to now, just a huge mark in Georgia's success. You'll see that we celebrated that milestone at the Georgia Tech game. We thought that that was the location where we could have the most number of Hope scholars and hopefully pre-K students as well, past and present in one location that would want to celebrate this historic milestone. This is a quick slide of our recent returns over the last 10 years. Our returns over the last 10 years have been over $1 billion for every year ranging from 1.09 billion to our most recent return of 1.47 billion. Our traditional lottery with our draw, digital, and scratch product continue to be strong, and COAM continues to increase as well. I'm very appreciative of the COAM contribution and what it provides to the state of Georgia. In addition to returns, for fiscal year 25, our players won $3.9 billion in prizes last year, which included 75 new millionaires. Our state-owned debts that were collected from prize winners included child support of $362,866. For the Department of Revenue, we collected $462,186, and for Georgia Student Finance, $41,380. So where are we now in this year? We are off to a strong start. Our Q1 sales and profit were really the strongest Q1 in history. It was our best Q1 in history with a $414.8 million transfer to the Lottery for Education account. The profit was $51.3 million, or 14.1% higher than our Q1 fiscal year 25. And so with that, Mr. Chairman, we topped the $30 billion numbers with that last transfer. This is always a good visual to demonstrate our revenue breakdown. Our largest percentage is always prizes to players, with nearly 66%, as this is our product, of course. The second biggest piece of the peach, as we say, is our return to education, which was approximately 25% at $1.47 billion in fiscal year 25. Next are our retailer commissions. Our retailers earn 6% on every ticket they sell. And as you know, they are our front line, and we're incredibly grateful for their partnership. We have more than 8,800 retailers throughout the state, and more than 80% of those retailers are small businesses. A lot of these retailers participate in COAM, and I'll get to that revenue breakdown in a few slides. And then our gaming expenses are approximately 3.5%. Our vendors, advertising, gaming expenses, and lastly, operating expenses are at 1%. Our product. So this is our product, obviously, the most important piece that we develop, because this is how we get to our profits for education. As you know, better than anyone, we are a sales and marketing business, and our job is to sell products responsibly to maximize profits to education. And we continue to be innovative with our instant product, launching 4 to 6 new games every month. Our holiday tickets are currently in the market, and as you know, our players truly enjoy those scratch holiday tickets for themselves and also as gifts. We support our new product launches and maintain product awareness of existing games through creative marketing initiatives. And during this holiday season, if you have not already, you'll see our holiday commercial of Mrs. Claus. She is trying to make sure that she gets the best gift possible for Santa Claus, her husband. Draw are some of our most popular. Our state games, our statewide games, Cash 3, Cash 4, Fantasy 5, Cash Pop, and Georgia 5, as well as our national games, Powerball, Mega Millions, and Cash 4. They are strong games and have all seen a year-over-year increase. Our interactive platform, which was launched in 2012, continues to grow year over year, and it is made up of internet and mobile channels. We continue to see tremendous success on these platforms. To drive sales, we join with other business-to-consumer sales companies like Coca-Cola and Publix to engage in marketing with sports teams to leverage our players' favorite brands to advertise and sell the Georgia Lottery product. We find that these advertising opportunities are productive, as they are one of the few places where we have captive audiences for 3 to 4 years. Excuse me, I would love 3 to 4 years, but we have captive audiences of 3 to 4 hours of 40 to 90,000 Georgians who have discretionary dollars to spend on our product and to observe our advertising. These sponsorships, many of them, also allow for co-branded tickets, in which we have already sold over $250 million in product tickets specific to these sports brands. As we look to the future, we are always looking to innovate. And in fiscal year 26, I wanted to share a few examples of what we are offering players and what we will be doing in retail and also iLottery. So for players, this is just one example. I mentioned that we have 52 to 65 new scratchers a year. And so in developing that product, we have lots of different exciting scratchers that are coming out. But this one, this Georgia Millionaire Scratcher, is one of the first of its kind in the lottery industry. This is a product where it's a $10 scratcher. Our friends or our players are able to go out, purchase the Georgia Millionaire Scratcher. We hope that they will win. If they do not, they have the ability to enter a second chance drawing where 3 people will be drawn to receive or to win $1 million on January 1st. And so we will have our first 3 millionaires of the year that we will draw on January 1st, and we will announce on social media and our websites. With our retail innovation, as you can imagine, we continue daily to look at how we innovate at retail. And so this year, we will be adding additional vending units as we are continuing to maximize those sales opportunities. We're also modernizing the merchandising of the lottery's instant games, as I mentioned, and providing retailers with additional security and functionality with digital menu boards that you will see in the bottom right corner of this slide. So when you go into our retail locations, you are going to see a more vibrant, more just a cleaner, more modern display of the instant product. So we hope that it will be right there at the front of the counter as people go to checkout, and that you will see we are looking for a lift, obviously, in product as we put that out there. We're excited about these digital menu boards. It also, as I mentioned, this piece will provide additional security and functionality for our retailers. And also in a response to our players and their request in the changing marketplace, we are continuing to expand cashless options at retail on our vending machines and always looking to innovate our signage and advertising in our stores. So iLottery, as you remember, we started our iLottery channel in 2012, and it continues to be a growing portion of our business. Our 25 iLottery sales topped $1.1 billion. Fiscal year 26 is off to a great start with our Q1 seeing sales of over $321.8 million on the iLottery. We will also have exciting news on the iLottery front in the future. We will be providing our players with a new app platform, which will offer an updated look and feel consistent with market-leading apps while adding functionality. The functionality that we are looking for, or we are really the most excited about in-house, is that we're going to be doing some cross-promotion pieces with our iLottery and our retail. So we're looking forward to having the ability for our iLottery players to purchase scratchers at retail. In regards to COAM, as we all know, our coin-operated amusement machines, we have regulatory responsibilities for COAM, and I think you all know this, but just to mention it, it includes licensure of owners and operators of COAMs, the issuance of permits for COAMs, the collections of license fees for COAMs, the collection of net receipts for Class B machines, and compliance. Licensing numbers at the end of Q1, there were 40,875 machines in market at over 7,000 locations. Our next slide is our COAM revenue and returns. And this chart displays the growth of COAM over the last 4 years. In 25, over $5.8 billion was played into our COAM machines or into COAM machines, with $4.3 billion redeemed as prizes. The master license holders as a group earned $660.4 million. Locations license holders earned $660.4 million. And the return to education from COAM was $192 million. As I mentioned, these numbers continue to grow, and we're very appreciative of the COAM contribution to education for its impact to Hope and Pre-K. Mr. Chairman, I have said it as long as I've stood here, and I will continue to say it for years and years. Our team starts and ends our day with students in mind. And when I look at these photographs, I wanted to make sure that we brought these to you. Just to say, I know that y'all do as well when you think about the lottery, and we do too. Whether it's on the right, students going to pre-K and learning if that pumpkin is a vegetable or a fruit. What is it, Mr. Chairman? I'm joking. We've already had this discussion. It's a fruit, correct? Can you tell that I didn't receive a Georgia Lottery pre-K education? But whether it's our students going to Georgia Lottery pre-K and learning the first of the first in their learning experience, or it's helping the student at our colleges, whether it's our technical colleges, our universities, our private schools, get to the graduation day. We are thinking of these students when we walk into the building. We're thinking of the students when we walk out of the building. And we see and we know and we hold tightly to our responsibility is to provide the greatest amount of revenue to send to you and the governor to allocate for education. And we do that on a daily basis, and we appreciate that opportunity to do. Mr. Chairman, that's my presentation. And then I've got the list of your questions, but I'm happy to pause or go directly to your questions if you'd like me to.
Very good. Thank you, President Corbin.
Yes, sir.
All right, committee members, that's the first round of the questions that was submitted by House Research Budget Office. And we do appreciate very concise response on that. Now, to the committee members, what questions might you have from that presentation? On
It's me.
Rick, sorry, Chairman Jaspers.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Gretchen, for being here. And I guess I just was looking through it, making some notes. I'm on that GLC recent returns,
Yes, sir.
the Lottery Commission. I was just kind of looking down through there physical year wise. You know, you look at 23, 24, 25, and there's a decrease, of course, there. And I know we talked about the improvement in the first quarter of this year, putting us over 3 billion. I'm impressed by what COAM's brought into it, kind of saving the day, it looks like. But I guess I'm sure you've had internal conversations of why has it been decreasing and what you're doing to improve that. I could see that in the first quarter of this year. But I just want to see what was y'all's in the last 2 or 3 years look at just on the traditional Lottery Commission proceeds going down. And then, you know, of course, COAM coming in as strongly as it has. Any comments about that? Just looking at it from our point of view, we're decreasing.
Well, so yes, it's pretty easy. We had some anomalies, and the first anomaly was in 21 when that return from 20 to 21 went from 1.146 billion to 1.4 billion. And as we've all discussed, that was kind of that was that COVID moment, right?
Sure.
And so that was that COVID influx. That was the largest year that we've had. And so when you went from 21 to 22, that was coming off of COVID. You didn't have those same dollars in the economy that went from 1.4 to 1.3. And then then we went up to 1.382 billion. During that year, we had over 6 $1 billion jackpots. And so that was an anomaly. The industry had never seen over 6 $1 billion jackpots. And I would have to go back, but I would dare say that we had never seen over 2 or 3 $1 billion in a year. I would go back, but 6 was not just out of the norm. It was a huge anomaly. And so then, so going from that 1.382 to 1.349 after having those 6 $1 billion jackpots, that was the challenge there, Mr. Chairman.
Sure. Then additionally, just you look at 24 to 25, that's another 60 million.
I'm sorry, that is the year 24 is
60.
when we had the over $6 billion jackpots.
And just what, I mean, just for us, I mean, for me, I guess, what have we done? Would you looking at kind of a trend? If we had not had the big ones, that's a significant difference. And I just internally, what have y'all's conversations about what to do? Obviously, you can see in Q1 you've done some things, but that's just concerning to me. Looking at it without COAM, we'd be in a little bit of a crack, I would think.
Well, so a couple of things, right? Because really what we're looking at is how do we return? Jackpots are great, but at the end of the day, they're a little bit of luck of the roll, right? And so what we want to do is how do we return the most to you on the things that we can control? Always the draw product outside of the jackpots, also our instant product. But I would also say that our iLottery product, I have to say I cannot tell you, when I was calling y'all in 2020 to kind of give you those updates in March and April of how we looked. And all I could think to myself is I'm thankful that we have incredible retailers that are trying to figure out how we can be 6 feet apart. But praise the Lord for the wisdom of the legislators and the governors over the year that we have iLottery so that we were able to sell online. We've always been very conservative, Mr. Chairman, in our iLottery product. Because we always wanted to make sure we never got ahead of retail. We didn't ever want to get into retail space. We want to make sure that retail continued to grow as iLottery did. And so we've been very conservative on that channel. But that channel has, as my notes, again, over 1.1 billion this past fiscal year. So that has also been a lift. And the lift, we sell draw games there. So there's an additional lift in draw games in the Cash 3, the Cash 4 that has been very popular this year, but also on our Digi games. So that's a higher payout price, payout. And so we have to balance that also. But really, it's how do we get the excitement into those draw games that we know are going to be the constant winners, right? The Cash 3, the Cash 4, that we have the ability, I don't want to say control, but we know what those are going to be and the steadies as we go, those core games, as well as our instant product and growing into our iLottery.
Yes, ma'am. And one other, Mr. Chairman. On the COAM review, revenues and returns, it's just interesting. I was looking through this. At the fines and fees, how they have decreased, which I think is a good thing, I guess. I mean, it is a good thing. Is it due to, I know in the meetings in years before, we have had issues with fines and fees toward COAM and maybe over stepping there some. But so what is that? You go from 12 million down now to 3.5 million. Is that, what's going on there? Have they learned? Have we working together better, or what's going on there?
Absolutely. I would say overall, on a broad level, we are absolutely, 2013 to 2025, right? We've had 12 years. So we're doing it better every year, every quarter. And when I say we, I think the COAM industry is doing it better as well, right? I do think we absolutely heard y'all. This is a small business. We want to be business friendly. So in our shop, we are thinking, again, when it comes to COAM, it's a tricky balance. Our job is to regulate, but we want to be business friendly. And so we are asking ourselves, how do we do that? And how do we do that in the best format? That's kind of the overview that I lead with on a daily basis. But I know there is a large amount. And Joe or Mike, is there a specific component that when you look at those numbers, you would have missed?
For a couple of years there were some large master license revocation settlements that accounted for a large chunk of that. But somebody gave up their license in exchange for selling the business and also saying fine. Yeah,
We're going to add that.
I think so everybody could hear. You said that there were some large master license fines. You might want to repeat what he said.
Sure. There were some large master license that gave up their locations during revocations And there were some large fines that went along with that, and there haven't been so in the last couple of years.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You.
I know we don't want to get in at this committee, at least I don't think we do, today, but I think it might be helpful to us when you look at traditional. I mean, that's several revenue buckets, right? From
Yes, sir.
the traditional revenue buckets. So as you mentioned, those numbers that were impacted, we all know the COVID, factor, people staying at home doing various things. It might be advantageous or more descriptive to bucket those in terms of the revenue, because this is the return to education, correct? This is not your gross revenue.
Yes, sir. And y'all did,
I mean, am I reading that right? This is the return, not the gross revenue from the sales, right? This is the net to deposited into the lottery. It says recent returns.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I know it's different and it's fine. We've had that discussion, the closest to this percentage, and there's marginal sales, but I think you probably have the information. I think it might be advantageous for us to see that some of the games that are bringing in revenue that is incremental revenue going to the lottery, but may not be the highest margin business, to see how that sort of impacts as opposed to what you just communicated to Chairman Jaspers there of, hey, that number is, a bit up because of the big jackpot sale in there. That might be advantageous. So then the question I'd follow up on, I know it's down a little bit the next years, but if you take out the anomaly of the 21, 22 years, we do until recently, and I guess until the end of 23, have experienced kind of the uptrend. What does that look like on a graph? I mean, I can't visually put those numbers on a graph, but is it a reasonable
It's a
situation where it's sort of a
yes, sir. It's about, you take out those anomalies, it's about 1%.
okay.
I would like it to, I always want it to be at 3%, but realistically, when you put it out conservatively, it's about a 1% lift.
Okay. And then there's also the situation that goes there is, I mean, there's a place when you get larger. I mean, we hear the things with the Microsofts or whatever the companies out there. It's hard to keep the growth rate the larger your revenue base, on a year over year. I mean, 100 million is a 10% increase over $1 billion. It's only 5% increase over $2 billion. So but I think maybe breaking those down, because I know there's different percentages of return, and we've had that whole conversation. I think one of the things that was important to Senator Cowser, I remember in a joint meeting, was about the marginal returns. But I think that might be helpful to do that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Comment from me on this when we're looking at the net returns. The sales that y'all bring in, y'all keep a certain pot of money before it's swept over to the Department of Treasury. And that's where you pull your operating funds from.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I'm going to ask, if you don't mind, for this question, our Senior VP of Finance, Ms. Charmin Lawrence. Do you mind if I ask her to join me for this one?
Sure.
Because she provides the best explanation of how the money is transferred as anyone I've ever heard, if that's okay.
Right. And maybe she can answer, like, notice on that question that the question been sent about the pots of money and the year-end balances. So she can probably answer all of that. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
List of the questions that we had provided to y'all.
I don't have it in front of me.
One of them is on the operations.
Mhm.
The question was, how many accounts does the Georgia Lottery Corporation maintain?
Right,
And what's the purpose of each account?
yes,
So we know that the Department of Treasury, they have an account,
yes,
and that's where all the surplus monies go, and it draws interest and is managed by them.
correct.
Y'all bring in whatever money comes in from y'all sales. Y'all hold in an account for your operating expenses. Is that correct?
So, yes, sir. So
Is there more
the
than that?
primary
Y'all
account?
have a shortfall account over there too?
No, sir, we do not.
And then at what point is there a sweep?
So the sweep, we send the money our excess money over to our account at the Office of the Treasury on a weekly basis. And then quarterly, per the statute, we transfer the net proceeds. And it's a simple communication to the Office of Treasury to move that money out of the Georgia Lottery's account at the Office of the Treasury, and they move it into the Lottery for Education account that they manage.
So y'all's king budget comes out of that money that works, that y'all are holding to.
Our working money comes out of our primary accounts on those listed accounts. That's the money that we use to push to COAM masters, to pay prize winners, to pay all of our major vendors and our employees.
Do y'all have any shortfall accounts?
No, sir.
Good. All right. So if we have, whoever's got questions, let's see. Representative McCollum.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here. I had one question. So, one of the questions was I'm curious, and this might not have anything to do. I'm learning this new process was a kind of a heat map of where the tickets are sold and throughout, and then how much of those tickets are sold on. I guess my biggest thing is like border states and what we're doing to encourage that, and then in conjunction with that, what are we doing as far as advertising for our COAM partners? What's that look like? Obviously, the lottery, the tickets and things like that are a big part of it, but COAM as well as apparently is doing their part. So what does that look like as far as COAM's advertising?
So in regards to COAM's advertising, we don't currently advertise for COAM. We felt that it was our regulatory responsibility, but not kind of our, so it wasn't, we didn't feel like it was appropriate for us to market for COAM. And so we've kind of done a good job of kind of holding that kind of, I don't want to say putting a line in the sand, but we have not done any COAM marketing.
And since obviously they're bringing in a lot of revenue, is that something in the statute that I missed, or is that just a decision that's been made not to advertise for COAM?
Statute, it states that we will regulate. And so, Joe, do you want to speak to the statute?
The statute's silent on advertising.
So silent on advertising.
So since obviously COAM has really increased a lot, is that something that potentially would be something to look at too? Because I would think, and I don't know, we don't have a map. I would think that the border states does anybody know if ticket sales are down or up in border states?
Well,
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, they're always strong on the borders, and especially obviously on Alabama.
Right.
Right. A little on Tennessee and some on South Carolina and some on Florida, obviously. But yes, a lot on Alabama.
So I guess my question next would be, are we missing a huge opportunity on border states not to advertise potentially on COAM or just COAM period to increase the sales of that?
To date, I don't think we have. I think that July 1st of next year gives us a really good opportunity as a whole with the COAM industry to talk about if there are any cross promotions that we want to do going forward. As you know, with the legislation that you put forth last year in July 1st, we kind of see like this, we do see a new opportunity, right, that you have given us where redemption in the past has been lottery product and also an in-store product with a little bit of gift card. As you know, July 1st, it will then just be gift card or lottery product. And we want to support our COAM retailers as they move to that. But we also, to your point, see that as an opportunity of how do we need to engage more and how do we maybe need to do more with our COAM partners so that we are receiving, so that that COAM player at the end of the day, they're walking into a convenience store with $1. And so isn't it great if they can put it in a COAM machine, but also isn't it fabulous if they can buy a lottery ticket as well? Mr. McCollum, or excuse me, Representative Chairman
No,
McCollum.
that's fine.
It is not something we've done, but we will absolutely look to do it.
Follow up, Mr. Chairman. Follow. So you led right into the next thing I was going to ask. Since we did do the gift card, and that's where I was going, is obviously we're going to have these gift cards and COAM's going to be in Kroger's and Publix and all these locations apparently. I think that we would be advantageous for us to have some advertising from the lottery to push these products, obviously since they're already growing already, to increase that. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Take that.
Yes. Let me just write it down. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. President Corbin, when the lottery revenues were down last time, there was an agreement with retailers that because they were losing part of their commission, they would be given incentive compensations to offset their loss. And what has the lottery paid annually to extra incentive compensation since you met the 1 billion threshold?
Chairman Mitchell, I don't have that. I apologize. I don't remember paying any outstanding incentives to retailers for that. I will go back and double check, but I don't believe there's been any. I may not. Am I misunderstanding something?
We've done some promotional incentives for to try and spike certain games from time to time.
I mean, promotional incentives we've tried to do to spike games, right?
Okay.
To encourage games, but not anything specific about if they didn't receive the same amount as the year prior.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry, Representative Mitchell, did you get all your questions?
Yes.
Happy to follow up on that, Representative Mitchell, see if I've left something off there.
All right. Chairman Martin.
Just want to Representative McCollum's question about the advertising of the COAM. I see a distinct difference here. The lottery is our business. We use retailers to do that, and we advertise our business. The COAM, we regulate. It's not our business. We get a portion of that, if you will. It's a tax from the COAM business, right? But we don't advertise for BP to sell gas, and we get a fuel tax. So I think that's the difference. Now, it's a question of if we want to do that, but I would question advertising directly for COAM. I mean, I guess the question I would ask, Mr. Chairman, if we're going to head down that road, I'd want somebody to give us an opinion. Is that not a violation of the anti-gratuity clause in the Constitution? Because there are other businesses that pay taxes to Georgia that benefit Georgia, but we don't advertise for their business. So, I mean, I have serious questions about the constitutionality of us deciding to advertise for a business that is otherwise just a business that we charge a fee or a tax to. Just to bring that up, if we're going down that road, I think it would be advantageous to look at the legality of that.
Let me ask a couple of more questions to your financial person. if you don't
Absolutely.
mind. I'm going to go down the list, the initial list of questions that we had. So you said y'all have no shortfall account. The money that y'all hold for y'all's operation, is that interest bearing?
No, we get an earnings credit to offset our financial services fees with our financial banking institution.
Could you tell us how much that would be? How much do y'all keep on hand for your operations?
It varies from week to week, depending upon, again, what major vendor payments we have, what large winter payments we have. I would say it probably averages 15 to $20 million on a week to week basis for the traditional lottery.
And that's not interest bearing in any interest bearing.
No, we get an earnings credit to offset our financial services bank fees on our account.
Explain this earnings credit.
So instead of us paying, so the balance that we maintain in our account, our financial institutions equates a value to the type of accounts that we have, the type of services or products attached to those accounts. And they say, if you didn't have this balance, we would charge you X number of dollars. And so we have to maintain enough of a balance to not be incurring financial services fees on all of those banking activities.
Do y'all rotate this to different banks or do y'all deal with one specific bank?
We are currently banking with a specific bank, and we've been at that bank for a while. We recently issued an RFP and are in the evaluation process right now.
We have Chairman Carpenter online.
Hey guys, sorry I couldn't be there today. I've been flipping steaks up here in Ringgold. I'm pushing lottery tickets on the border if that helps. So, just a comment on the COAM advertisement piece. I understand the conversation, but kind of as a business owner, it makes more sense to spend your advertising dollars where the margins are better. So if you're going to pull advertising dollars from the scratchers, et cetera, Powerballs, where your margins are better, it doesn't necessarily make financial sense to push that into an area that you're not making 15%. So just a thought.
And with us for a while, Casey. Have you flipped enough steaks to stay with us a while?
Yeah, I'm going to be. Hopefully, my replacement's going to be here at 11:30 to serve, so I'll be online.
And will you be bringing us any steaks for lunch?
I don't know that I'll make it that far unless I can get in the governor's helicopter. I'm probably not going to make it.
One of the questions that we had asked was to provide a detailed budget of expenses by object class, transportation, marketing, personal services. Did y'all bring us copies of that?
Yes.
All right. And that I recognize Representative Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, President Corbin, and to our finance lady. I would love to have your name again.
It's Charmin Lawrence.
Miss Lawrence. Thank you, Miss Lawrence. One of our, as I see it, one of our key responsibilities, at least for me, is to follow the money. And so that's what I'd like to do today. And when I look at the revenue, expense, advertising, salary, benefits, and travel,
Yes.
in my heart of hearts, a great portion of the monies received from the Georgia Lottery, in my heart of hearts, should go to education. And I believe that's where we started with the whole concept of the lottery and what it was intended to fund. And on the where the money goes, there's a 24.7% funds to the education, 65.9% in prizes. And yet, when I'm looking at this page,
Yes.
it looks like the expenses, and I would think that the prizes are included in the expenses.
I'm not sure.
I'm looking at it billion, 480,831,000 goes to expenses versus
Right.
1 billion 471,352,000 going to education. It seems to me that, and correct me, Mr. Chairman, help me if I'm wrong, it seems like the education is getting the crumbs here. That's just my perception.
Right.
Could maybe not correct. And in this, where the money goes in the peach, it doesn't break down. It says 75.9% in prizes to the players, 1% in operating expenses, 4.9% in commissions to retailers.
Right.
I'm trying to understand the detail of the expenses.
Yes.
And I know that a great part of it is going to advertising and sports teams, et cetera, et cetera. What is the return on the investment when we look at what we're putting out for advertising and relationship building and assistance here, particularly in the sports arena, versus the investment versus what's coming down to the students?
So my understanding is we pay about $5 million a year in our sport or professional team sports sponsorships, and the value exceeds the cost that we're paying. I may have to defer to the advertising person. But the overall question about expenses and being 4 billion, again, that 4 billion includes the prize amount that's paid to the prize winners. Advertising collectively is about 1%. On that peach schedule, it also included vendor fees that we pay for our lottery service vendors who provide the terminals, the centralized system to generate the tickets and validations for both Scratcher and our online product. And of course, we pay 6% commission to retailers that sell our traditional lottery as well. Our traditional expenses, rent, personnel cost, professional fees is right at about 1% total.
Thank you. So, you would think that what you're saying is that we're getting a great return on the investment, although our investment is a lot.
I would concur with that. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, thank you. And then, do we ever get, Mr. Chairman, do we ever get a breakdown of exactly how much goes to each sports team and how much goes to, do we get a breakdown on our advertisement expenses?
I'm not aware of us providing that detail outside. I think we send on a quarterly basis the unaudited, which is kind of a compressed version of our audited financials. Our audited financials for probably 15 or 20 years are posted on our site. And leading into the actual financial documents, there is a management and discussion and analysis section that gives a little more detail on specific what composes the specific line items. So
Continue, Mr. Chairman.
Certainly.
I'm always concerned about the demographics of our investments.
Okay.
And I would like to see, I'm jumping over to the COAM now. I'd like to see in House District 94 a report on the COAM machines, where they're located and what the income is for House District 94. That's one thing. But again, I'm always concerned about the investment. Let's go back to the education, because that's first and foremost in my heart. And at the end of the day, what are the demographics of those receiving those monies? Do you have a report of that?
no, ma'am, I don't track demographics in the finance department. I deal with the actual transactions. I couldn't tell you who bought what ticket, who won what ticket. I'm not sure if we have that information. I don't know that we track
I'm
demographics.
sorry, I wasn't asking that question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
About who bought what tickets, I was asking. Thank you, Ms. Cohen.
Jump in. I think Georgia Student Finance would, if anyone in Georgia Student Finance might have that information, we would not have that information, who's received Hope, who's received pre-K. We can absolutely, to your district, kind of make those breakdowns that you asked for, and we'll get that back to you.
Okay, do you ever ask Georgia Finance? Or that's not your concern? Your concern is just raising the money and paying the expenses?
Georgia Student Finance is an incredible partner, and I'm more than welcome. I'm happy to talk to them and get that answer.
I really would like to have that
Okay.
information regarding, at the end of the day, the pre-K, because I'm speaking with pre-K, former pre-K administrators, and they're no longer in business because they say they're not getting enough money to be able to service the kids. And so it's a concern of mine when I hear that pre-K is 100% funded, and we still have a wait list for pre-K, and we still have administrators who would provide services for pre-K but can no longer do it because they don't think that the income meets their expenses. And so that's a great concern. And if you could help me offline to think through how we process that and how we make improvements there, because if we're going to 100% fully fund pre-K and we're making all this money and we're paying all this money for expenses, sports teams and marketing and advertisement, and yet the kids are the intended in receivers or beneficiaries of this. And I'm at a loss as to understanding why we're in this situation.
Absolutely. Well, I'll make sure that I coordinate with the Department of Early Care and Learning, and that we touch base with you on that.
Okay, thank you so much. And I think that's going to be it for me for right now, Mr. Chairman, unless we talk about, interested in all the expenses because it seems like we're heavy. We're doing some heavy lifting on the expenses.
Well, and just a kind of a quick note again, because we have to make those business decisions, right, around advertising. Is this the right place to advertise? Is this the right dollar to advertise? This is a lot of money. Are we comfortable with this? We have to make those business decisions. Is this going to provide the advertising that we need for our dollar? And we have found that these sports packages are where a lot of our players are. And again, I mentioned this, I don't want to beat the drum too much, but in a location now when it's so hard to get everybody's attention and you have 40 to 90,000 people at one pop able to see all of your advertisement, as well as we have the ability to sell the co-branded tickets, which, as I mentioned, brought in over 250 million in sales already. That's where we can look back and go, number one, if we were just looking at that, we're comfortable. But also we have external independent reviews to make sure that we're making the right decision, that I want to know. I've got to answer to you, right? Are we making, and to Georgia and the students on a daily basis, are we making those best investment decisions in regards to advertising? And we have found that those are, and we have independent decisions to actually run some of those values. And that's why when Sherman said the values are above what we are spending, we know that because for some of those partnerships, we've had Octagon, which is a professional sports evaluator, evaluate those packages for us to make sure that we are getting the best bang for our buck. So that's kind of where we are. We completely agree with you on that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good and good.
Go back. We left open-ended question when you said we use one bank. You use one bank. What is the name of that bank?
We currently use Truist.
Truist. Okay, thank you.
All right. To the committee members, they have handed out a written answer to the initial questions that was proposed by the budget officer. Y'all might want to look at it because it goes into some detail on the sports teams, contracts, and things like that. So y'all might want to take a look at those. Chairman Martin.
A couple of things if I can, to the representative of higher ed, we have a presentation annually from Georgia Student Finance. You're welcome to join us. We'll make you aware of that. They give us a report on the distributions, and from their standpoint, it's typically toward post-secondary education, but they also distribute the money for pre-K. My question was about the bank. I mean, you have to have more than a couple of bucks sitting in the bank account, and I don't want to be flippant about it, but you have to have a lot of money here. I hope we don't leave a lot of money in a non-interest bearing account for any length of time in a trade for services. That doesn't seem, and I trust you all because y'all been doing this. So I won't get into it today, but I mean,
Thank you for bringing it up.
there's a lot of those things that go on there. I mean, I would hope you have a sweep account that we don't leave a lot of money in a non-interest bearing account for a significant time. And if you tell me you got that under control, that's all I need.
Yes. So again, on a weekly basis, we determine how much money we're going to get in from our sweeps, from our co-im locations and our traditional lottery. Again, we estimate what we're going to physically have to pay out that week to prize winners, major vendors, employees, any of those costs. And any of that excess money we send over to our account at the Office of the Treasury that does earn interest. We earned $7.2 million in interest on that account at the Office of the Treasury. So yes, I do continue to look at our balances and have recently actually asked the team to scrutinize that even more to see if there's any additional money that we're holding that we shouldn't be holding.
So what's the average daily balance in this non-interest bearing account?
I would say, again, I think I spoke to that. It's about $15 million. And it trends down. We start the week at that, but it trends down
Sure.
as the prizes are presented and any of these vendor payments go out as well.
Yeah, because I mean, you could really sweep daily, and it wouldn't be a lot to keep it moving. But I'll leave that operations to them.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a footnote, I'll go ahead and say, I meant to follow up after Ms. Bennett. This issue about the pre-K and all of that, that's budgeted by the legislature each year. And I will tell you that it appears to me, after discussions with the higher ups in the House, we have an initiative that'll be coming out, the Speaker's office. The First Lady, Ms. Dale Burns, has taken it as her role to pinpoint and to move forward on pre-K and early childhood education. And we know that water runs downhill. So I would suspect that we're going to see a lot of initiatives on that issue coming up this session, which is one of the reasons that we're looking at concerns that I had is we're looking at a decrease in the net as we see the increase going up. And I think that's where the genesis of a lot of the questions are going to be coming from. So, Chairman McDonald, and can I call you Chairman?
First, Madam President, I want to first thank you for whispering that state to our west of us. This is a good week to be whispering that. You call them the A state, whatever. Go Dogs. So this is probably a question for Miss Lawrence. Looking at the peach, I know we've kind of bounced back and forth on vendor fees, gaming expenses, operating expenses. What is the number? What is the 1% number in our revenue that represents in our revenues? What is the fixed number that 1% represents? And same with the 3.5. All the others, we can't, we're kind of out of our control, but those are two that I think you can control, and just want to kind of see what those two numbers are. And I have a follow-up question.
So 1% equates to about $62 million for the 1% operating expenses.
Okay. And the 3.5.
The 3.5. So mine's broken out a little different. Let's see. About 210, 212
12 million. All right. When you're looking at the ticket provider, Scientific Games, which is in Forsyth County, where represent, and you got Interlock. What piece of the pie is that under operating expenses? Is that under vendor fees and gaming expenses? Because it kind of got confused a while ago when you're talking about those.
I'm sorry. Could you?
Okay, no, you're fine. The tickets, Scientific Games.
Scientific
Do they
Games.
come under operating expenses?
No, they come under vendor fees.
They come, and so does Interlock. Okay.
Yes.
Because I thought you had mentioned the tickets under what the 1% a while ago. Okay. That's good. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Right now.
Chairman Carpenter is online.
Sorry about that. Let me step outside. All right, just had a quick question. When Ms. Corbin was talking about the sports advertising, what is the plan for the lottery in regards to the advertising plan in regards to the World Cup? Just kind of like to hear your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a really good example of something that we looked at and we thought about because there's this big boom, big discussion about World Cup. But when we looked at it and evaluated it, it did not make sense for us. So that spend, we could have gotten a little bit of marketing off of it, but to be a specific partner, Chairman Carpenter, let me back up. We had the opportunity to be a sports partnership with FIFA World Cup locally. I think they're only going to be about 9 partners. We had the ability to be one of those. When we looked at it, it would be about a $3 million spend, and it wasn't one that was for us. The ROI didn't make sense to us. So what we will be doing, Chairman, is looking for other opportunities, whether that is making a soccer ticket, right? That isn't FIFA affiliated, but maybe generate some excitement who are here for FIFA. We'll be trying to think about how are we a part of the excitement, but we are not going to be an official partner with FIFA, nor for any of those efforts.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that because I had real heartburn. I had real fear that we were going to spend a bunch of money on that, and knowing the price of the tickets, just as somebody who buys a lot of tickets and goes to a lot of sports events, it's probably priced out of the majority of your players hand, if you will. So I appreciate you guys looking at it, but also not pulling the trigger on it. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I had a couple other questions, and obviously I'm new to the legislator as well, but you don't know what you don't know, right? So to Chairman Martin's answer to my question, I didn't realize, the tax and piece, like he referred to as gas stations. But the co-am industry, obviously we have lottery logos and branding. I don't think we do that with gas stations. But anyway, I just, like I said, I didn't understand how that went. But my question is so can you walk me through how we do franchise fees and things like that as far as with the Braves, Falcons, UGA? Do we pay them franchise fees? And how does all that interconnection work as far as what we pay them, what we get out of the teams, and how all that money's changed hands?
Sure. Well, they're all different. They are all different, but at the end of the day, we pay amount for a sponsorship where we receive the ability to advertise in-house. We have the ability in some packages to do tickets. We have assets for activations. So you may have been at the Braves game where in the outer and sorry, help me. Thank you. And in the outfield, when the balls were coming down, so the activation, the sign there. So there are different components of the package and that are different for every piece. And that's why you will see there are different prices for each one. Obviously, you have a different amount of home games where that advertising is going to take place. And so, but in regards to in regards to the contracts, that's how they take place.
So I guess I'm still trying to wrap my mind how our partnership with the different sports teams works. So we have tickets, right, that have the Falcons logo, Braves logo. So normally if you buy, I guess, have a t-shirt and you're going to print it, you have to pay them and I don't know, somebody else probably could answer this better, but you have to pay them franchise fee like UGA or whatever. So we pay do we pay the franchise fee to the team, X whatever number that is, and I'd be curious what that number is. And then we pay advertising to the team as well, for the advertising on the banners. And then we on top of that purchase box seats from those teams as well, or we don't?
No, sir. In some of our packages, there are seats included, but they are not on top. And I will tell you that I have tried to negotiate them out, and there would be no savings. But I would like to ask, if you don't mind, our Senior VP of Marketing, James Hutchinson, if he could kind of take you through one of those, if that would be okay. Because to answer, I want to make sure that we answer your question in regards to the franchising and the licensing fee, because they're very different from ticket to ticket. And so, James, correct me if I'm wrong, but for UGA, that is not, there is no payment of that ticket or licensing or percentage going back to UGA for that Georgia Bulldog ticket. That was part of our package, correct?
Yes.
But then but with the Falcons, there is a percentage that you can cover.
Actually,
So a little bit of difference in both. Jump up.
thank you for having. To Gretchen's point, each of the sponsorships are different, but there are commonalities that we look for in all of them. And of course, let me say this, that every objective we have is to drive awareness, is to drive sales for the organization. So as an example, with the Falcons, we have the ability to have amazing signage inside of the venue. As Gretchen mentioned, we're able to reach 5 million people, and they're captivated. So they have nothing better to do but to see our marketing. And for us to be effective as we have been, we believe, is that we not only put up our logo, we create really sticky, as I call it, sticky marketing. So we're putting something in your hands, or you're all as a whole stadium looking up in the air watching parachutes drop, or you are handed something when you come in the door, or you're asked to scan a QR code for a chance to learn more about the lottery. So those are really sticky sort of activations. That's again a part of what we do with the Falcons. In addition to that, we do have opportunities to have hospitality. It's an opportunity for us to work with our retailers and to award them for great sales and behaviors. In addition to that, we've already talked about the co-branded product. That is tremendous. As a lottery organization, we have a lot of new games coming out every month, 4, 5, sometimes even 6 games. And for those games to be effective, we've got to communicate that. We've got to let people know we're throwing a party and we're inviting you to come. So we've got to make people aware that product is on sale. But through those co-branded pieces, it's a unique offering. It's something that we can't do without having a relationship with those sports partners. Example, when the Braves won the championship or the World Series, we were out in the market with a ticket. And you can imagine people buying the ticket because they're like, it's supporting the Braves. Some people bought it because they thought it was a souvenir. And whatever reason, we liked the fact that we sold it. So, those are just a couple of components, but overall, the package we purchase is specifically to drive business initiatives. And those components are included as a part of the package.
I'm sorry, what is your name?
James Hutchinson? Yes, sir.
And you're the VP over
Senior Vice President of Marketing.
marketing. Got several documents here. Could you tell what all sports teams do y'all contract with?
We are with all of the major sports brands here. So it's the Atlanta Falcons, the Hawks, the Atlanta United, and the Braves. And we have partnerships with some of the Division I schools, the colleges. So then you'd like those names, I can share those with you, which is UGA, Tech, Kennesaw. Of course, now let me just look at my list here, make sure.
And I think and this kind of goes back to the meeting we had 2 years ago. There was a lot of discussion at that time with the Falcons, and I didn't think at that time we only knew about the Falcons. And how long have y'all had these other sports teams under contract? Has this been since the last meeting 2 years ago?
No, quite frankly, I mean, we've been in partnership with all the ones I named since I've been with the organization 20 years. So I think since day one, since my first day one. So those are long-lasting relationships.
So is the Falcons the only one that y'all get box seats, or do y'all get box seats with all of them?
The hospitality varies. With the Falcons, we do have a suite, access to a suite that again we use for our retailers, as an incentive to drive additional sales in their stores. With the other ones, it varies. I mean, we have seats, some season seats. We have season seats with the Braves. A couple of times a year, maybe 4 times a year, there is a suite included that we can use for entertaining our retailers.
I know that 2 years ago, one of the questions that we had was who uses these seats, and y'all told us at that time y'all didn't keep a list of them. Do y'all still not keep a list about who utilizes these seats?
We do, absolutely. We have
Do you have a list?
Yes, we do.
Very good. Committee, I'm sure the committee members, some of the committee members will be pleased to hear that. And I understand y'all have a contract with the University of Georgia and Georgia Tech. And do y'all have a box at any of those stadiums?
Unfortunately, not. No, we do not have a box at all at either of those stadiums. We do get some seats to games for basketball and for football, but we don't have a suite or a box in either place.
Same for Georgia and Georgia Tech alike.
Right.
Any
Yes.
other colleges in Georgia?
No, we don't have a suite at all.
So let me ask you a question about Georgia or the Georgia and Georgia Tech. What is the contract? Let's just say, well, on all of them, I'd like to know what that contract is, but in the details, and I know this is going to sound stupid for somebody that's a Georgia fan, but it's quite something in the back of my mind. It's irksome to me that we're paying the University of Georgia to advertise them on the ticket, sell tickets is going back to pay for the students that are going to college there. Something seems it seems like a commercial stretch to me in that phase. I understand the Falcons and all of them. It's all about business. They wouldn't be promoting sports betting if it wasn't about business. But in this particular case, can y'all provide us a detail, something other than the copy of the contracts that Representative Carpenter brought us, the details of these contracts that might prompt other questions to the members? I mean,
Absolutely. Sure, absolutely.
and the reason I'm asking that is we're looking at this bottom line over here, marketing line on this from 21 went from 29 million to 30 to 39 million to 46 million to 53 million. So it's taking a sizable jump each year. And, I come from the world of business. And to me, it's always been about decisions that are made, expenses versus return on investments. And then when we see that the net on the ticket sales are dropping, and I guess that's my concern about expenses in versus the profitability. Are we seeing a profit to the point that an audit, maybe a performance audit about to see if that might be in order? But I'll leave this up to the committee, whatever their questions they might have prompted. But could you maybe get us the detail, a readable copy of the terms of these folks and those type of things?
Absolutely.
If we could do that, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Sure, absolutely.
Questions from the committee? Mr. McDonald.
Thank you.
McDonald.
This should be a pretty easy one. What is the difference, the cost of marketing with the Falcons to UGA? What is the different numbers for a professional team to, and of course, the money at UGA goes to, I'm sure, the athletic department, not to the school. So that's the difference, I think, with the money going with the students, but still, there's all part of the same family. But what is that number from Falcons, or Braves, what they would charge to Georgia Tech? And is it different for Georgia than Georgia Tech? Georgia Tech probably hopefully gets a lot less.
Amy,
That we do.
Amy.
Every package is different, and of course, professional sports in general is a lot more expensive than college sports. Now, having said that, University of Georgia is quite a brand, and as a result of that, especially in the last year of the championship and all, overall cost for sponsorships has increased significantly. But right now, it's probably a little less. It's a little more than half of what a sponsorship of the Falcons would
Do you have
be.
a number?
Right with Falcons right now, we're about $1 million. It's about $1.4 million for the Falcons alone, and with the UGA, it's about 700, a little under 700,000 for UGA.
Georgia Tech's probably about 50,000.
It's about 150, I think. So we're about 150,000. Again, those are set by the organization and evaluated by our team. So
I just hope Bert Reeves is watching this.
no, we don't.
Seems to me the most popular thing on TV for the last week has been the high school sports and
All the
the
news.
worldwide wrestling on top of that. All right. Yeah, we've got plenty of questions here. Representative Garland?
So I have a question that I probably should know, but I don't know. So what is, Chairman Carpenter had mentioned, what is the profit margins on the tickets and the co-am tickets, and then the profit margin after you back out advertising?
What was the last part?
Them tickets.
The profit margin on the tickets after you back out advertising and all that, and then I guess the net, and then how much is the profit margin on the co-am as well? What percentage?
Payouts. Payouts vary depending upon the game. For the scratchers, it's around, believe, I don't have my sheet in front of me, but I believe it's around 17% overall for a category for all price points. Oh, okay. Yeah, we did the prize payout. So yeah, it's right at 16% profit margin on scratchers and about 46%, 45% on the draw games. Co-am, I don't.
I'm sorry, the scratchers was 46%,
No, that was the draw games.
the draw games, and then 16 on scratchers.
Yes,
And that's after you back out advertising and everything.
correct.
Okay. And then the co-am was at 10% or something?
Let me correct that. That's the gross. So our overall profit margin is the margin shown on the peach, which is the 24.7%. So that's the gross, the payout or prizes specifically.
So the 16% for scratchers and 46 for
Draw.
that's okay. And then you have to back out the advertisement off of that percentage. That'd be correct?
Advertising, vendor fees, operating.
Payroll, all that stuff.
Right. And
You'd back all that out, so it wouldn't
Right.
be that percentage.
Correct. So our
Okay.
net profit margin is the amount shown on the peach, the 24.7. So all of our revenue, depending upon what bucket it came from, all together, minus prizes, minus retailer commissions, vendor fees, advertising, operational expenses.
Oh, so the 24 is the total. Okay.
Right.
And then co-am is that 10%? I should know that, but
So profit margin, I apologize, got too many papers. Co-am, they are at about 89%.
89% profit margin?
Correct.
Okay.
Of what we get. Yeah, so we get net receipts, licensing revenue, fine revenue, and then we take out the expenses for operational cost. And
Okay.
yes,
Okay, so for the lottery part, is the profit margin is 24.7 and the profit margin on the co-am's 89%. No, wait, did I do that wrong?
No, that's correct.
That's correct. Okay, that's why, okay.
Now, we only get 13% of total net revenues of the revenues coming in.
But there's no money spent on them really though. But I guess at the end of the day, if you're in business and you make that profit, right?
Correct.
Okay, that was what I was curious about. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess I don't know if it's appropriate time to ask this question, but since Mr. Hutchinson's standing up here, I guess my question, because we cover all this with sports and different things, is advertising. Do y'all have an in-house advertising group, or do you contract the advice for advertising out into the open market? How does that work?
We have a very small internal team that does mostly promotions, but all of the advertising that you see on billboards or television or wherever, that's all done through our advertising agency. And so that's BBDO Atlanta is the agency, with their sister partner is OMD, which does all the media buying. And so we work through them.
So I guess they're the buying of the ad products throughout the industry. Got that? Now, do y'all bid that out every few years since that's just really a function thing? How does that work?
Correct. We do. We issue a RFP, and we bring in anyone who's interested, and we go through a vetting process, or go through a whole process with many different members of the team to judge those entries or those folks interested on various criteria. I
guess to chase a rabbit a little bit. But I guess I'm really interested in advertising advice on what you do, what new tickets you come out with, what new rabbits you chase with team things, and how does that work within the lottery system?
One of the things it's so important is that we stay fresh, we stay relevant. As I mentioned a little earlier, we have a large number. We have maybe five tickets a month we're introducing, and when you do that, you've got to have a variety of concepts and ideas and colors and all those kind of things, because we have to appeal to as broad of an audience as we possibly can. The partnerships with, the Falcons, as an example, is one that, when we have a ticket that says Falcons or Braves in the store, people may not necessarily be a lottery player, but they'll be a Braves fan and they'll buy the ticket because of the association there. And so, creating fresh content and fresh products is just so important for us.
I guess I'll follow up in that. So how do you use an outside advertising agency to come up with these creative ideas, or how does that evolve?
We have a wonderful partnership with Scientific Games that was mentioned earlier. And so through them, and they have a great relationship with many lotteries throughout the country, throughout the world, actually. They often come to us with great concepts and ideas that we're able to make selections, if we think the product works for us, or we're able to create our own product. But we also listen closely to players, because with players, there'll be different research opportunities that we are asking players, give me your ideas, what is it you would buy? And so that has been important over the years for us to listen to players and to build product based on players' desires.
Okay. I guess I want to continue if I can, Mr. Chairman. So when we look at, I think we're getting to what I'm asking. So you look at BBDO doing your function of selling and all that kind of stuff, and Scientific Games giving you ideas on lottery. On the big scheme, do you not use a large advertising agency to be looking at nationwide, looking at concepts that will increase that number we saw decreasing a little bit? How do you that we're looking to change that? I guess that may be a bigger, maybe
It's,
Commissioner Corbin's.
I think it's really easy. It's a yes. And the yes is to James's comment in regards to side games. That's more about the product, right? When we're looking at that new instant product, we're working with Scientific Games to look at the research of the player. What would they like? Is a grand 3-person jackpot in January 1st, is that going to be exciting for the player? Or are they going to buy that ticket incrementally? That's kind of a product development. To your question, I think, is more on the advertising side. And that's where we have BBDO, who is our advertising agency, and they are working with James's group every day. As James mentioned, he has a small group that's they're running the activation. So when you see parachutes coming down at the Falcons game, they're there on Sundays getting the parachutes ready to throw those down. But then the BBDOs are saying, hey, have you thought about a parachute idea? Have you looked at, the people have you thought about this idea? Have you thought about this idea? We think, or we know, based on all of our relevance experience and research, that a sports agreement is a really good investment, or it's not. Back to the FIFA discussion, right? And so we're using BBDO as our agency of record, as kind of as the brainstormer, as the assistants of new things. But then also we're using them to evaluate, and OMD to evaluate opportunities that come, because you can imagine we get tons of opportunities that people would love us to be a part of. And we look at them, some we think they're good, some we think that we're bad. But we always ask OMD, would you please evaluate this for us to make sure that we have gone down the right path, or we are interested in going down the right path.
Right.
But bottom line, yes, sir, advertising, BBDO.
Okay, that is occasionally put out for bid for performance.
It is.
Okay.
It is. BBDO has been a very long time partner, and so, but yes, bid.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. McDonald, Chairman McDonald.
Thank you. I'm still chewing on this peach over here a little bit. I can look at a lot of this. We've talked about marketing, coming out of the vendor fees and gaming expenses, Scientific Game. I'm trying to figure out what's in the operating expenses.
Mm-hmm.
What is happening in that piece, that small 1%? What is that covering? Because I've been adding up things. We've talked about the numbers and then kind of in my head, what working with Scientific Games, buying tickets, buying the machines you put in grocery stores, the Publix and all that. I cannot see what is the 62 million? What is in that?
So the operating expenses.
I mean, just give me a little list of what all would be included in that? Because I could see kind of money could be moved to both places. Operating expenses, gaming expenses could be kind of the same to me.
Okay. So operating expenses, traditional business expenses, personnel cost, computer expenses.
Computer expenses, explain that. What would that be?
So that's, us having cell phones connected, having Wi-Fi functionality at our district offices, at our headquarters. That's what that would represent. Telecommunications, same thing. I probably misspoke on that one. Computer expenses. So that's the actual purchase of laptops, computers, iPads, and then the telecommunications piece is the phone piece.
Okay.
So our cell service, our Wi-Fi connectivity. We have our transportation cost, whether that's parking in the building or if our team commutes to work or parking for our employees. It would include depreciation on our fixed assets. It would include any expenditures for capital items that we buy, for any capital expenditures. I said salary, employee benefits, health insurance, any insurance, office supplies, just the plethora of traditional business expenses, rent.
What's the number of employees that you have?
Currently, I believe it said 381.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you.
It's a good question since he brought all of that up. Y'all are still located in the same building that y'all been in forever.
Correct.
Y'all renegotiated at least because last time I was over there, y'all were the only tenant in that building.
Yes, I think they, and Joe may be able to speak to it better than I. I think they renegotiated an extension a couple of years ago that gave us a reduced rate of rent.
The reason I was asking that, you're looking at a building that y'all might can locate and pay the state building authority to move over here
Hmm.
in about a year when we vacate the premise. So, all right. Ms. Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ms. Lawrence. This is another question.
Mhm.
Social gaming responsibility. Does lottery still provide for that? We haven't spoken about that and given us any update about responsible gaming policies that you implement.
I'm gonna let Gretchen speak to that, but yes, we do still address it.
Absolutely, we do. And we really pride ourselves on being one of the leaders in responsible gaming in the nation and through the world. We do this through the National Association of State and Provincial Lotteries, as well as the World Lottery Association. And this includes meeting criterias where we are during this holiday season, reminding people, gift responsibly, don't gift to a child, and it's also includes in our iLottery of kind of that timing of when we work with a player to sell another game. So if we weren't a lottery or we didn't have responsible gaming, we might sell through another game quicker. We keep our timing down. JB, is there anything that you would like to add to that?
No.
Or any exciting components?
No, I mean, to Gretchen's point, we have a lot of World Lottery certifications, industry certifications. Online, we have limits, so people can only deposit a certain amount into their accounts on a weekly, a monthly, or an annual basis. So there's a timeout method that Gretchen mentioned as well. So we do have a lot of measures in place, and we do take a lot of pride in making sure that not only are we maximizing revenues for education, but we're doing it in a responsible way.
Yes, I could explain did I just say something? Y'all can only deposit a certain amount into somebody's account.
Yes, so that's for our iLottery accounts. And again, it's to be responsible. We limit what people can deposit into that. You have to have an online account in order to play online, to purchase one of our tickets. And you have to have an account funded to do that. We limit the amount of money that you can put into that account. It's a responsible gaming framework that the World Lottery Association has put forth. NASPO, our industry association here in the United States and Canada, have put forth. And so we kind of follow those guidelines. But yes, to answer your question.
If I want to play iLottery, if I want to buy my lottery tickets through iLottery, I have to put a dollar amount up, sort of like the gambling accounts that the sports folks do.
Yes, so you have to put money into your equivalent of like an e-wallet. You have to put money into your account.
What's the amount that y'all allow to be put into that?
I believe the amount is, and I'll have to double check that on with you, but it's maybe 5,000 or 6,000. But again, you cannot put that in. That could be over a period of time. Again, any winnings that you have, if you win money, that goes into your account as well, and you can spend that money, or you can take that money out and put it back into your bank account or whatever you'd like to do with it. It's your money.
I'm sitting here and I'm kind of stunned at that dollar amount that we have people that had to call Gretchen when I went to buy a lottery ticket back in the summer.
You cannot do that.
And I couldn't get over that a lottery ticket had gone up to $5. I said, when did this happen?
Yeah.
Really?
What is the minimum that they can deposit to purchase?
They can deposit $5, $10 into their account in order to play.
Thank you, sir. Percentage of the budget goes to responsible gaming, or do you have a dollar amount, and where does that fall?
I can follow up with you on the dollar amount.
So statutorily, we send $200,000. We decided as a business decision to send an additional 200,000 from the COAM side of the house. So we send $400,000 a year, and it falls as a part of the operating expenses in that 1%.
400,000.
Correct. And statutorily, we're required to do the 200,000.
Okay, and again, that percentage of your budget that's under the 1% operating? That's
It's in
within that?
Within that 1%, yes. So
Okay, out of the 62 million,
correct.
400,000.
Right.
Mrs. Bennett, if I may add another small amount for when we are doing those certifications or when it's through advertising, so you'll see the play responsible or you'll see the messaging, that does not count that. That is that statutory amount that is being spent. I'm not going to say it's a huge amount, but there are additional dollars to that.
Thank you.
Chairman. So obviously, like I said earlier, I'm new to the committee and new to figuring out how the lottery works. Can you explain to me, so what exactly does Interlot do for the lottery?
Sure. Intralot runs our centralized accounting system for the COAM system or for the COAM industry. So in 2013, when we received the responsibility for COAM, the big responsibility was setting up a centralized accounting system and bringing on all of the COAM machines online. And so that centralized accounting system is that centralized accounting system is run by Intralot.
And so I didn't realize, like I said, I'm just learning. So obviously, I read in the paper that they have had issues in other states. Is that something that's concerning to the lottery? And how long have they been doing this, since 2013?
Correct, yes.
And then in conjunction with the Interlot and the banks and all the other vendors we use, how often do we redo the bids on those different entities?
Those are at different times. Some are 3 years, some are 3 or 5 years. Some we extend the contracts because in the lottery industry, you only have so many that will be bidding and have the ability to. And so when we have extended contracts, it has been because we were able to negotiate a savings and additional services. We extended the Intralot contract. Mr. Chairman, I remember talking to you in 2020. I was on my sidewalk because it was COVID, and I remember calling you and saying, we've got this potential extension of a contract, and they will have the ability to provide us for a COAM gift card pilot. And with that, we would receive a gift card pilot, and we would receive a decent savings that made us feel comfortable, very comfortable in extending that contract. So that's an example of that. I think I got off base on your question. I apologize.
No, that's fine. I was just looking for some insight. So what did they get fined for in the other states? What were they doing there that they got fined these absorbent amounts?
So I think that you're talking about DC, and from what I understand, I would probably defer for all of the information to Intralot. But from what I understand, and Intralot, we have Intralot representatives in the room. If y'all want to correct me, please do.
Well,
Okay. But what I understand is in that instance, within their contract, it was the responsibility to have a minority contractor.
it was a dispute regarding minority contracting in the District of Columbia. It was settled, period. Sorry,
What amount?
$6 million.
And the dispute was over what? Funds or?
In there to see for the different.
Now, DC and Lake Georgia has some very strict minority participation requirements.
That's correct.
So, when will will this be continued just being extended instead of bid on, or how long? What's the process?
The process would be, you get to the process whenever the interlock contract or any contract, right, is coming up for bid, and you look at it and you see, okay, if we're going to bid on this contract, we need to go out for bid about a year and a half before, right? Joe, would you like to speak to this? I want to make sure that I get this correct.
The current intra-lot contract runs through the end of 2029. And so typically what we'll do, especially for our major gaming contracts, whether it's for the COAM accounting system, the lottery gaming system, or our instant ticket scratch-off system, is look at where we are with on the contract, make a determination of, do we want to see if we can do we think we're better off negotiating a reduction in the rate and the services, or do we want to go out for bid? I think, intuitively people think you just go out for bid, you're always going to get a better deal, and that's not really the case. When we put our draw station contract out for bid, what happens sometimes is the vendor, especially if you have a dominant incumbent, they figure out how little competition they have, and we actually ended up getting a worse price when we went out for bid for our draw station, and got some extra cost associated with that. So on the intra-lot contract, when we negotiated the last extension, we got about a 15% price reduction. When we negotiated the Scientific Games instant ticket contract, we got about a 13% price reduction. When we negotiated the IGT, now Bright Star, central gaming system contract, we got about I think it's about a 15% reduction. So we're looking at what kind of a price reduction we can get, and what kind of disruption to operation there may be from bidding. And if you rebid it, your incumbent may win again at a higher price, the same price. Sometimes you get a new vendor, you get protests, so those are just all the different balls that we're juggling when we're deciding whether to put something out for bid or whether to negotiate.
So help me. So how many years is that going to be with a no bid contract?
With Intralot, the original contract award was 2015, and I think that 2019 will be 14 years.
No bid.
And like with Scientific Games, they've been our instant ticket provider since 1993. IGT has been our central gaming provider since 1993.
With no bid.
Right.
So you're saying there's nobody else qualified to bid on the process?
I think that especially in the lottery, Gretchen alluded to it, for the, it's a 3-horse race, essentially, between the 3 companies that I've mentioned, and got to decide, do you think you can get a better price? Can you get a better deal? What's the disruption going to be? You never want to foreclose the bidding, but at the same time, you don't want to go out for bidding just for an exercise like we did for the. I'll tell you what happened in the draw station was they figured out that their WSB figured out we're the only ones that already have a studio built for the lottery. Everybody else is going to have to price in the studio, and because those are the questions that their competitors were asking. They knew nobody was going to bid on it, and they bid accordingly, and we got burned.
So many vendors do we have that we don't pretty much go out to bid? When's the last time we did a bid? That one?
As Ms. Lawrence mentioned, right now we're out for bid on the banking contract, and we've gotten and we're evaluating the proposals on that right now. The BBDO contract went out for bid maybe about 8 or 9 years ago. And we've had some discussions about what's going to be the right timing for rebidding that. But frankly, before Truist got the current bank contract in, I think it was maybe 2016 or 2017. It was Bank of America, going back to 1993. So these kind of contracts where your vendor is integrated into your operations, they tend to run for pretty long periods of time.
Okay, thank you.
Could you identify yourself? I remember you from 2 years ago. You're
I'm Joe Kim, General Counsel.
general counsel. Yes, this would probably be a good time for me to, since you brought up the interlock question. The committee, y'all might remember receiving some copies of letters from me back in the summer when I had saw on the internet about interlock and their legal problems up in D.C. I had posed a question to President Corbin, and it wasn't a very pleasant situation. We kind of went back and forth. It didn't take but about 3 letters through somebody else before I finally got the answers. And I was quite satisfied, especially when I learned that 2 things happened. One was that they had lowered their price on their contracts. But probably the one point that I made was that I had been receiving a lot of complaints from the masters about the service from Interlock. And amazingly, Interlock apparently moved in more employees and started dealing with a lot of the issues at hand. Because once those phone lines were down that connected the machines back to the lottery, you had machines that had downtime. The masters were screaming because with the investment that they had in these machines and all of the COAM machines, you had people who were losing revenue, not just the masters, but the retailers, and which ultimately meant the lottery was losing revenue. And to their credit, Interlock stepped up and improved service, because I haven't had any negative responses except something positive that apparently those issues have been resolved. So thank y'all for that. I ain't got any more phone calls lately. So appreciate that. And which I guess that brings up the other question. IGT does your computer services?
Yes, our gaming service, our centralized system. Yes, sir.
Gaming services and all of this. And I guess I have concerns overall when I see a drop. But, the lottery has been a phenomenal success in Georgia. And I say they ought to build a statue to Rebecca Paul. I can say that since I'm the last serving member of the legislature that was on the committee that legalized, that approved the lottery in the day. And she set a network up into place that has lasted forever. And Rebecca, wherever you are out there, I still love you, hon.
I will tell her, and she will be so
Great gin.
pleased.
She was a great gin partner to me at certain points too.
Mr. Chairman, she's a dear friend in the lottery industry, and she would want me to send her regards and her appreciation to you for all of your long-term
And I
support.
believe she's still up in Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
Their gain, our loss. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way, but
She's incredible. I mean, let me just brag on her with you. I mean, she celebrated 40 years in the lottery industry, and she's been a great mentor to many of us. Thank you.
good. Lovely lady.
Yes, sir.
Very sharp. I want to say just a couple of things. We got a couple of more questions from some of the committee members. To the committee that may not be fully I think Ms. Bennett's left us. We have a unique situation. The lottery as it was enacted in 92, 93. It set up the lottery as it was based on ticket sales and this type of thing. COAM came into place 20 years ago because of issues in the industry at that time. They were placed under the lottery supervision. We've had discussion over the years. A lot of times we didn't think that they were getting properly treatment, but a lot of that also went back to the nature of the industry itself. There were issues somewhere earlier in the meeting. Somebody brought up the question about fines and issues with the COAM. COAM has cleaned up their own act. There's a lot of things. Remember that all of those machines, if they're a legal machine, then they are tethered back to the lottery commission. It's just what it is. So they know what goes on with these machines. A lot of those we've seen a lot less applications where retailers were paying out cash Y'all may remember a couple of years ago, I passed House Bill 353. And I had said then that anybody any retailer that's caught paying out cash, they're too stupid to even be in business because they make a profit. It's the only thing that keeps a lot of these retailers in business is their commissions off of these machines. It's an interesting, COAM is an interesting proposition. They pay 15% tax, goes straight to the lottery commission, but yet the lottery spends no money on COAM. Masters provide the machines through a contract with retailers, and their profitability is divided between them. Now, next year, and I'm leading up to my next question. We're getting prepared next year on July 1st. We go to the downloadable gift cards. And I still remember my comments from the well of the house that come next July the 1st, we'll have downloadable gift cards. And the only way that, because law is that you can't pay out cash, and those gift cards can be used strictly for gifts, or they can trade them for lottery tickets, or they can do redemption into the machines to keep doing replays. That will be the only, it's a very fine cut system, so that hopefully we'll see no more of anybody paying out cash. I had a situation in my own district. One of the fraternal military organizations, they had some old COAM machines in their business, and somebody brought it up to me when they came in. They rated them and all of that. These were old antiquated machines. They were never licensed, hadn't been licensed in a dozen years or more, if not longer than that. Wasn't tethered back to the lottery. So they were strictly illegal anyway, if there'd been any cash paid out, which I still don't know that there ever had been, but you know how some of the old military organizations might be. My question is, are y'all prepared for next year? One is that I have concerns that, questions that we've answered over the years about payouts at locations, ticket sales. These COAM machines, there's a tremendous number of tickets redeemed. Have y'all made any progress on that? Being able to determine how many tickets are actually redeemed, lottery tickets are redeemed for the winnings in these COAM machines. Have y'all made any progress?
So we haven't.
That's something I would like to see, so that we know what's actually going on for that. One of the things, and I had spoke to you a while back, the technology and innovation out there is quite unique. I was at a trade show for the COAM division, and I ran across this machine that this guy had invented. This technology is wild to me today, how they do things. But there was a young man that I had met, and he has built a machine that dispenses scratch-off tickets. And those people who are playing COAM machines, they can stick their ticket in, and then they get tickets back, which is the gist of what we're trying to do, let one dovetail on the other. Because, I'm sure y'all have an abundance of old ratty ticket, scratch-offs that don't sell very well.
We have no scratch-offs that don't sell, Mr. Chairman.
That don't sell. I'm sure you got some.
But we always look for opportunities to sell them. Yeah. Yes, sir.
I think that this guy said that he had met with your folks, but they still hadn't gotten back to him. But I'm hoping that y'all.
He knows when we have a meeting scheduled. He had an initial meeting, and we have a meeting scheduled with the team and myself next week as well.
The bottom line of the lottery is sell tickets.
Yes, sir.
There should be two ends to this, and it's only my opinion, but it's to do whatever you got to do to sell tickets, and then judge that expense in doing so. As to the reason that I think that y'all probably need to do a performance audit that y'all hadn't done in a while to determine the expenses out versus sales of the tickets, because that's a future. We have developed the lottery, and it's become so unique. God knows, I don't think the universities could, I've always been guilty of saying the universities, they don't set tuition rates until they find out how much money y'all made, and which has created another set of problems, but it's been successful. Now, questions?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, back to the July 1st comment if I may, in regards to July 1st, I just want you to know that we are very excited about that. Our COAM team already has communication ready to send out to our COAM locations at different points to remind them that this is going to take place. We're ready for it, but they have to be too, right? So they have to have the gift cards as well as the lottery product in place. So we're excited about this change. And I most importantly just wanted to let you know we have is it 4 or 18 pages, Mike, that you've made of a communications plan? It's a lengthy communication plan, and I just want you to know we're already focusing on July 1st. So thank you.
That's great. And as a footnote to that, folks need to know that the lottery has no expenses in this. This will be left up to whatever gift card, downloadable gift cards. I had met with some of these folks that are way smarter than I am, and I can't really get into all of it because I don't understand all of it. But they can do, if Gamoa or anybody wants to do a gift card, they go through whatever financial institution, and these things are downloadable. They can use them to put back into the machines to play off games. It loads the games back, the winning points back on or whatever, and they can't be redeemed for cash, which is the bottom line that we're living to the statutory provisions of the law. You can't pay out cash until the people of Georgia approve it. So I want to thank you for that, because I'm hoping this is going to be, finally, we will have moved into the new generation of those folks who have always complained that these are gambling devices. They're not the gaming devices. It's the paying out of prizes only, gift certificates and those type of things. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And McCollum.
I just had one quick question. So, as far as the state auditors, when was the last time the lottery got audited by the state auditors? Do y'all know?
I don't have to go back and look.
Is that something that would be coming up? I don't know how, like I say, I'm new to this. How often does that happen? Is that something we could get done? I mean, I want to say before, I appreciate y'all coming in, and thank you for fielding all of our questions and things like that. But we just trying to do our oversight. And so I just was curious about that. Do you know?
I don't know. We do internal audits also on a quarterly basis. So we have a whole internal audit team that is doing audits on all of our business units. And so obviously I know the schedules of those, but do not know the states.
Okay. All right. Is that something I guess we can find out when the state auditor and when the last time one was done?
Yes, we're happy to send that your way.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank y'all for coming in. I appreciate it.
Always our pleasure. And thank you for coming to our board meetings. Everybody is welcome anytime, every quarter.
Chairman Washburn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to follow up on the rebidding of contracts. From what I understood, there's you normally do not necessarily rebid them or put out an RFP for them. You use that as an opportunity to renegotiate. Is that correct?
We have in the past, but that is not to say that we wouldn't in the future, Chairman Washburn. We consider every option at every time and every turn.
Good. Thank you. I think there is benefit to letting the market work and letting the market speak. And even if you end up renegotiating, that could be quite revealing. So thank you for
Absolutely.
So we got a question has come in from one of our members who is on a mission today. And this question is, how do we know as Georgia taxpayers that the lottery is meeting its obligation to fund education initiatives in this state? There's been lots of chatter over the last decade that the lottery is skirting rules to keep more money in its own coffers rather than meeting statutory requirements to fund education. Any response to that?
Yes, sir. We don't have any coffers. To your first question about do we have any accounts? We have no accounts. We have no reserve accounts. Any interest that is earned by the state of Georgia. It goes back to the state education for account. Mr. Chairman, I, just like you as members and me too, because I was in economic development, I know you don't ever want to be in your seat as a legislature and us not be the #1 state to do business. I never want to be your lottery president and CEO and not receive $1 more than I did the last time. I promise you, I and every member of my team go to work every day trying to figure out how do we send more dollars to the state of Georgia. We have no desire to spend them. And Mr. Chairman, you can imagine, and you know me well enough to know, I'm in this for Georgia and I'm in this for y'all. And I'm a people pleaser as well as everything pleaser. And I promise you, the only thing I hold my team accountable to is wanting to bring more back to the state of Georgia and to the representatives' point, to the students, to our beneficiaries of Georgia. I always say it's not about the lottery, it's the beneficiaries.
Exactly. I'll forward this to him and he may want to give you a call himself.
Always.
on that question. All right. Do we have any other questions from any of the members? Do we have anybody in the audience that has a burning desire to ask a question? Good. That's good. That's good. I don't see anybody's hand go up. I'm sorry, I do have a guy. Yes, sir. Will you tell us who you are?
Very Rutherford with Maryland Games. Had a great conference with Director this week about the lottery.
The gentleman I met up the trade show. Yeah.
I love the discussion about the cross marketing between the lottery and COAM and the opportunity to sell or dispense more tickets through COAM games. But I'd also say that there's over 40,000 screens in Georgia with these COAM games, and it's an opportunity for the lottery to promote, their digi games or other products on the screens in the retail stores. So there's just a great opportunity, I think, for COAM and the lottery to work closer together to promote for scratch tickets, either just on the screens or through actually dispensing the tickets through machines or promoting the digi games. So a lot of opportunity that really doesn't cost a whole lot of money at all.
Thank you for your comments and thank you for the technology. A lot of this stuff is, and I've been guilty of saying this, that, I've been to trade shows and I've learned what kiosks are. I might not be able to understand, I may not be able to use a kiosk at the airport, but I'm learning what these kiosks are. And there's so much technology that's being developed out there, such as the dispensing of scratch-offs and it could probably do other things, possibly next year. And I'm hoping to see this. The masters fund all this, the high price of all this machinery for the COAM division. And it ain't cheap. I remember 25, 30 years ago, a COAM machine was probably $2,000, $3,000. Now they tell me these things are $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for these machines, and they fund that cost. It's no cost to the lottery or anything else. Quite honestly, the less the lottery has other than oversight, the better I feel about it. Less government meddling into stuff. Let them do their business. But I'm hoping that what we're going to see next year is after July the 1st, when the gift cards go into effect. I'm hoping that we're going to see these kiosks developed to put them at the stores. Now, I will tell you, as a former store owner myself, for many years that I owned stores, the biggest obstacle that we have is dealing with employees. And these kiosks is one way that we take hands off of it. You get rid of the personalities, you get rid of the hands that may do something that might be considered to be criminal. So these kiosks would be a move forward. And that's just my editorial for right now. Leave it at that. Since there's no more questions, I'll expect to see any of the members that have listened to any of this stuff. If y'all have other questions that y'all want to ask, as you can see, the lottery has been actually surprisingly quite good this year about furnishing answers. And I do appreciate this.
Absolutely. Anytime,
Gretchen.
Mr. Chairman.
So any of the members, if you have any other questions that you would like to get an answer for, remember, we'll be convening in just a shade over a month. And we could always get them back into a regular committee meeting to answer questions about any and all things possible. And with that, I want to thank you again. I want to thank your crew for showing up today. And to my friends at Interlock. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to drag y'all into it, but again, I thank y'all for improving the service over there. And I would like to maybe, for the purview of the committee, that maybe it is time that we see a performance audit done to evaluate certain things, if that's the wishes of the committee. With that, we stand adjourned.
Thank you.